Of all my art books that have come and gone, these are the ones that have earned a permanent home because they've been so helpful and inspiring to me as an artist. These books connect my passions for painting, drawing, sculpting, printmaking, and learning the anatomy of both people and animals. I hope maybe you'll find these inspiring as well, so let's get started. An Atlas of Animal Anatomy for Artists is one of my oldest favorites because it has some of the best horse anatomy charts I found and a nice assortment of other animals as well. Most of these were old veterinary diagrams that are still pretty accurate, so it's a handy book for many mammal art projects. The Animal Anatomy for Artists, The Elements of Form by Eliot Goldfinger is a favorite of mine for two reasons. First, it takes a lot of the info I usually find in veterinary textbooks, but makes it really accessible and usable for artists. Second, the emphasis on form helps teach how to look at the shapes that make up any animal. I found learning how to see shape and form has improved my drawing a lot and makes this book super easy to apply to sculpture. If you've been on my channel before, you know how much I love sculpture. If you ever wanted a drawing course without the tuition of a drawing course, The Complete Guide to Drawing Animals by Gottfried is perfect. There's a ton of detailed anatomy information for major land animals, mostly mammals. The author does a pretty great job of relating that info back to artists and showing how we can use that info in our art. Each chapter has homework ideas, especially for drawing from life at zoos, and it really parallels my figure life drawing course. So if you can find a copy of this, you'll get a similar experience for animals. This is out of print, but there's another one that I think still is in print, and it has a lot of the same info, just without the homework assignments. I'll link that below. Pop Sculpture by Tim Bruckner is a must for anyone who loves realistic sculpting or trying out different materials, and especially learning mold making. This book talks a lot about different clays, their advantages, and how to work through a lot of the challenging aspects of mold making and resin casting, so it was pretty invaluable when I got started. Printmaking has a special place in my heart, and since it can be a fairly complex art form with lots of different techniques and materials, I like having this guidebook as a quick go-to when I'm trying something new, working through a problem, or just as a refresher. It has bite-sized passages on just about everything you'd want to know, so it's great for beginners and intermediate artists especially. The Artist's Color Manual is one of my older color books, but I've kept it over the years because it's still a quick reference on all the different colors you see in a store, why pigments are different, and it has some handy color mixing tips that you can use right away, like how to mix your own black paint when you don't have black paint. This color book by Todd, however, is recent and is a book I wish I could have had years ago. I honestly think this should just be called the Artist's Color Handbook, as the info is so helpful, deeply comprehensive, yet accessible, and all the info is easy to apply to any art that uses color, not just oil painters. If you only buy one art book in your whole life, buy this one. Learning how to paint was my 2020 lockdown project, and this is one of the most helpful books I bought to teach myself. It really helped me understand the technical aspects of acrylics and their mediums, how to shop for the right acrylics for me, and it dispelled a lot of myths I was told that I didn't even realize were myths. There's also a lot of info about how paints are made and what goes into them. Also, it's a really pretty book. Also by the same author and a great companion book is the new Acrylics, which offers even more info on new paints like pearlescent, color shift, and so much more. This one also offered a lot of helpful info about pigments, which I found handy when purchasing my paints. The Complete Artist Manual is my go-to for quick reference on materials and techniques, particularly best practices, like how to properly prep panels or ensure my art is archivable and will last. There's also a lot of professional tips, and I found the tips on mounting artwork from that chapter was also applicable for just making my art look nice in my own home. So I think professionals and amateurs can get a lot from this. While the elements of landscape oil painting is obvious who it's written for, I would say anyone who wants to make any art in a realism style should read it, as there's lots of advice on how to create realism in an artistic way rather than capturing every detail like a camera. There's gentle advice on finding your inner editor, and it's really helped me understand how other realism artists edit reality a lot. Like, the amount of editing versus what they actually saw in life is big, and yet the paintings still feel real. This has made me think a lot about realistic sculpture and how I portray realism in that medium. It's kind of made me rethink my realistic animal sculptures in addition to providing guidance for my landscape art journey. The Drawing Bible is another great resource for quick info on a lot of materials and techniques, though I've largely kept it for so many years because I love the variety of drawings included. There's some really lovely ones here. Figure Drawing for All It's Worth by Loomis saved me during the figure drawing course I took, as unfortunately the required class text didn't make sense to me then. And sometimes that's how it goes. If one art method isn't working, try on another method. Andrew Loomis, Michael Hampton, Stephen Rogers Peak, and George Bridgman are a few big names in learning how to draw people, and for me the illustrative style of Loomis just really clicked. This final book is my absolute favorite for both drawing and graphic design and is aptly named Drawing for Graphic Design. As someone who was studying design, it was great to see so many different styles and techniques of drawing applied to graphic design, and now it's a beautiful book to inspire my personal projects. Do you have any favorite books that weren't included? I'd love to hear, and if you enjoyed this, you might enjoy this next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!